We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Earle. Earle recently bought an Oppo UDP-205 and isn't sure what the brightness and contrast setting should be for, quote, correct, unquote, HDR viewing. He did a test watching of Deepwater Horizon. It's a Marky Mark one, right?
That's
right.
right.
Marky Mark one, yeah. With both settings at max level, and he felt the results looked excellent, but he's concerned that other movies might look different depending on how they were graded. Is there an industry standard for HDR color grading and therefore a set of correct settings that will work for all HDR movies? He doesn't want to have to adjust settings for each and every movie individually. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. It doesn't really sound like you should turn the brightness and contrast all the way up. That's usually not the correct setting. Usually it's all the way down. Usually,
well, so to answer is there an industry standard? Absolutely, there is. There absolutely is an industry standard, and with high dynamic range, we now have this completely new thing when it comes to describing how to get from black through gray up to white. Which they call an electro-optical transfer function, and that means that the value that's stored in the video corresponds exactly to a nit light output level. That's if you want to follow the industry standard, it is this exact one-to-one correlation of value in the signal to light output that you're supposed to have. Therefore, you really should leave the Oppo's settings at their defaults. Put them back to the factory defaults. That's really where they should be for HDR. Now, the problem is that that electrical optical transfer function ends up creating quite a dim-looking image. They're expecting you to have a very dark room with only about 5 nits worth of ambient light, which is like barely anything. Right. That's the industry standard. So if you want to be really strict, you need a very dim room, and then you set your television, because pretty much all of the HDR TVs are the ones that we're recommending anyway, the LG OLEDs, the Vizios, Samsungs, Sonys. If you put them in their HDR standard viewing mode, you almost don't have anything else to do. Out of the box, they're all quite accurate. I mean, yes, it's technically possible to get even slightly more accurate, but really there's not much else to do other than put an HDR standard. But what most people are finding is they do that and everything looks too dim. Like everything looks too dim, because most people don't watch regular standard dynamic range content at that dim a level. So I think what happened there is he probably has a little bit more ambient light than only 5 nits in his whole room. So when he maxed out the settings, everything got brighter, and he thought that looked better. But you really shouldn't do that in the Oppo. The Oppo should be left at its defaults. If you want a brighter image, you should use the HDR bright mode that's available in almost every HDR TV. Or if that isn't available, you set the television into its HDR mode, and then you can adjust the brightness and contrast of the television. You shouldn't really adjust the Oppo. You can adjust those settings on your television to at least make things in the shadows visible, because that would be nice. You don't want everything crushed to absolute black.
We don't know if he has a direct view TV or not, right? We don't know what he has.
I don't know what the television is, no.
Because a lot of times you can just adjust the backlight a little bit.
That's also true.
Just up the backlight setting, so that that's basically your adjustment for your room. That's the way I use it, at least. It's an adjustment for the room. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna, my room is doing this, so I'm gonna bump it up a little bit because of that. Yeah,
but this is actually useful, Earle. If you leave the Oppo at its default, set it back to its factory defaults, that gives you a good reference point. It's already at the reference point for HDR, and therefore, if it looks dim to you, and it's perfectly fine if it does, because almost everybody has a room that's brighter than what the industry standard is, then make the settings adjustments in your television.
Right. All right. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.